Hello, as we continue our Eastern Conference season outlooks, we're down to the 4 seed, your Cleveland Cavaliers, and a sort of interesting offseason, you could say. This kind of comes coincidentally with news that Ricky Rubio is going to be stepping away from the game for a little bit to focus on his mental health, which of course totally support. For sure is now an offseason headline as we go into this season with Cleveland. Luckily, from a personnel standpoint, they signed Ty Jerome as kind of a backup point guard. But you look at this Cleveland offseason, and another big headline is the Max Strus sign-in trade. Looks like he'll be, it's like 4 for 64 in that range, as well as bringing in Georges Niang, bringing back Karis LeVert. And, this team kind of had a glaring hole on the wing around their 4 core guys, Garland, Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. Now, it might have been maybe the most glaring hole for a team that's in kind of the playoff contention conversation in terms of just they have not really had answers at that spot now. And, Isaac Okoro was sort of serviceable for a little bit, but was he the long-term solution? Probably not. Now, is Max Strus an upgrade? Absolutely. Obviously, just coming off of being a key contributor in a finals run in Miami. Is he enough to vault you into the title contender conversation? I'm going to say probably not, but I do think he does give them, vastly more options there on the wing as someone that can shoot and defend and just compete on defense at a pretty high level. I think, he's going to be able to spread the floor, open up driving lanes for both Garland and Mitchell. Now, I think most people going into the playoffs had Cleveland kind of just penciled in to beat the Knicks. I think, from a talent standpoint, the Cavs kind of take it at almost every position, really, when you look at it. But they couldn't get it done. They lose in the first round. And so now it's like, this is kind of a prove-it year. You have Donovan Mitchell, another season in Cleveland. There were talks about his extension, and it doesn't seem likely. Whether that's good or bad or just kind of, due process at this point, we will see. But I don't know if a Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell backcourt makes sense long-term. We've seen star backcourts in the past kind of struggle when you look at like a Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum type situation. Everyone Russell Westbrook's ever been with, which is obviously his own sort of thing. But we know that Donovan Mitchell has won playoff series. But maybe we should start viewing him more as a scoring point guard instead of a scoring shooting guard that you then pair with a point guard. Even though, Darius Garland is probably arguably one of the most sort of traditional point guards. And before Donovan Mitchell was on the team, he was asked to do a lot more scoring than he was probably comfortable with. So in a way, it makes sense. But from like a size standpoint, Donovan Mitchell is not a very big shooting guard, and Darius Garland's like decent size for point guard. But when you have both out of there, it's kind of tricky, and both need the ball a lot. And so I think maybe this is the prove year to see if they can win a playoff round together. But if not, I was exploring prior to the whole Max Strus thing, and this, is still really on the table when you look at what if you move Garland. And the team I identified that made the most sense as a trade partner would be the Toronto Raptors. You look at Darius Garland for OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. Raptors need a point guard without Fred VanVleet. Darius Garland obviously fills that void for them long term. Meanwhile, the Cavs have been looking for an actual legitimate wing defender and shooter. They get exactly that in OG. And then you throw Gary Trent in there as another guard, pesky guard, that can shoot and play D. And then, you move Donovan Mitchell to the point guard, essentially, instead of having him play off Garland a lot. You just have him running the show. creating shots for everyone. And I personally feel like that makes sense in a lot of levels. It really depends on how high you value Garland and OG for that matter, but I think theoretically that makes sense. But let me know if you think I'm like way off base there. And it realistically probably won't happen. But you look at Evan Mobley, you know, a lot of high expectations, especially going into your sophomore year. You want to see a leap, especially offensively for him specifically. Didn't really see it. And, you know, if he's unable to shoot to any degree, then him and Jarrett Allen are going to be difficult to be on the floor together offensively. Obviously, you love both of them as rim protectors. You love both of them, you know, as altering shots in the paint on the defensive side. But offensively, you know, is it worth kind of the trade-off there? Do you try and stagger them more? Or is this, you know, kind of similar with Garland and Mitchell? Do you move Jarrett Allen and move Mobley to the center and then see if you can get kind of a stretch four? Obviously, you know, traditional centers like Jarrett Allen aren't hugely in demand. But when you have the Jokic's and the Embiids of the world out there, you do need someone of that size on the defensive end. It's just a problem when you have two of them. So here we have a lot of sort of skill overlap in Cleveland, despite having a lot of talent. It's tricky. It doesn't fully make sense. And, you know, in a playoff series, and this is a team we fully expect to be back in the playoffs, and that's what they should be, you know, building this roster and preparing for going forward. Yeah, offense can't be predictable. It can't be Donovan Mitchell trying to make things happen out of thin air. You know, they sort of tried to get Garland more involved because he kind of took a back seat in that series. And when he was more active, it did seem to contribute more to winning. But obviously, you know, Mobley's got to be better. Jarrett Allen's got to be better. And so, yeah, you know, Max Strus isn't going to turn this whole thing around. Karis LeVert, I'm not sure. I mean, as a bench kind of off-ball shot creator / scorer, it's, you know, shot creator might be a little generous. But, you know, is it better to have him or not have him? It's probably better to have him. Georges Niang, you know, another guy, a lot of playoff experience, can knock down some shots. Is he going to really, you know, move the needle? Probably not. But is he better than Dean Wade? Probably. So, you know, why did they get rid of Kevin Love? Because he, you know, you look pretty helpful in the, you know, for Miami. But of course, Miami's kind of specializes in reviving zombie players. So, you know, what are you going to do? But, you know, Cleveland's now really staunchly in that tier below contender, and it's just a matter of, okay, so now what? Is it just coaching? Is it, you know, JB Bickerstaff just figuring out different schemes and different rotations now with the new acquisitions? Because for him now, this is kind of a prove a year as well, because he kind of had, you know, a lot of respect kind of with a team originally that wasn't expected much. And it was like, oh, Cleveland. And then, you know, Jarrett Allen got hurt and they lost a little bit of that. But now it's like Donovan Mitchell's in town. This is a team that now expects to win playoff series. The front office, obviously, you know, whether you liked it or not, are making moves to try and improve this roster. And so this will be a prove a year for JB Bickerstaff to see if he can get these Cavaliers winning playoff series. It's really hard to say that they could beat the Celtics or Bucks, but maybe they vault themselves over the Sixers at least, put themselves as a 3 seed, and we see what happens. I don't know, but let me know what you think about the Cleveland Cavaliers offseason. And of course, we're thinking about Ricky Rubio and you know, what this Cleveland team can do going forward. Let me know what you think. But for now, take it easy, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.